planning on getting an MAI appraisal on the property, you're smart to want to get an MAI on the property. But if you're working in the wrong way, you might spend money where you don't need to spend money. Let me explain. You go out, you get an MAI. You're like, I got an MAI, it's got the value, I'm in there, we're going to make a lot of money. Now I need to go get financing. So you put your whole package together, you submit it to the lender, and the lender says, okay, I'm ready to give you my commitment letter, but I need a deposit. And they say, what do you need a deposit for? I need a deposit because we need to order an MAI, but I just ordered one. Yeah, but you ordered one, we're going to order one. And you're like, wait a minute, I just spent money on ordering one. Yeah, but we have to order our own, and we're not going to go with your guy. Wait, if you don't go with my guy, then who are you going to go with? Well, we don't know yet, and we're not privy to tell you that information. Oh, shucks. Well, my MAI is the only guy in the whole area. Follow? That's why I say get your finance lined up. Get your financing lined up. We want to go through this process, and this is the process, guys. If a lender is going to order an MAI anyway, you want to do your best guess of what the property's worth, but still, an MAI's got to be ordered before you close. All right? That's how it works. You get your financing lined up. All right? Get your financing lined up. Now, ordering an environmental inspection, searching for lead paint, asbestos, and other hazardous type of formats. Also, phase 1 report to inspect the ground as well for DWO, wood destroying, that's not organizations, that's organisms, guys. That'd be a great organization, wouldn't it? What are you doing this morning, Bob? Oh, just can't wait to go destroy some wood. All right. And you also need a survey as well. You need a survey. That's just a survey boundary to know exactly what property you're actually buying. Now, number 6 is if it's a go, let me go ahead and correct that. If it's a go, then you want to go ahead and make sure your attorney notifies the seller or agent you have released the contingency, so your deposit will now go hard. Hard, guys. It goes hard, meaning non-refundable. Make sure you feel confident the financing is available first, and have your attorney approve all the above reports. If it's not a go, page 101, have your attorney notify the seller and broker you're canceling the deal and send it back your deposit. Or, and always, you can renegotiate. Guys, you understand the power of negotiation? You can go back and you can say, just like in the residential world, well, we didn't expect for this. You know how you have the final report right before, right? Then you're going to go back and get a credit back to the buyer. Credit back to the buyer. Well, commercial's no different. It's just in the negotiation process. But again, if you're going to get smoking terms, you don't want to go back and nitpick the thing, especially if you're going to get the type of terms that I get. Then what it is you just take it with a grain of salt, you just get it done, and you just factor it into the overall expenses. And if you're buying at 30 to 50% of appraised value and you can raise the rents, fill the vacancies, get in there, improve the land, do whatever you're going to do on the land or the building, it's irrelevant. But you can still get in there and renegotiate. Sometimes just to say, look, we didn't realize that there's all this mold in here, and this remediation is going to take at least 3-4 months. That means that we have to go in there and rework our timeline. Now we need an extension for a minimum of another 6 to 9 months. That would be smart to do. So make note on that. It's more so, write this next to renegotiate, write time in parentheses. Number 7, have your attorney send you the closing documents to examine in advance, and before sending to the seller's attorney, make sure it matches the contract and true intent. Make sure that it's all line by line, make sure it all is in order. Now with vacant land, you want to order title, search, and deliver a copy of the contract to your attorney. He and she may want to order title. Number 2 is visit the property, and if you haven't already, and take a look around as well. Make sure it's what you're doing. Make sure that you know that it's going to be able to be put to its highest and best use. Know what's being built nearby. You might want to take an engineer with you, or send your professionals and have the engineer just meet you there. That's what we do. Call the engineer. Can you meet us here on this day? We're going there. Yep, I'll meet you there. Just like I sat in the car Because the engineer told me it was going to be worth 15 bucks a square foot. We were buying it for 60 cents a square foot. Get a lender involved immediately and order an appraisal if required. Now, number 4 is hire an engineer to check out feasibility of the property's use. Change the zoning, city plans for intended use, and roadblocks that they may create, or advise you on any hidden traps and costly entanglements, as well as the cost projections to build. If this applies, guys, it might not even apply. Just if there could be some hidden traps, you want to know, right? Now, if you're dealing with an out-of-state or an out-of-town engineer, it's not going to be as wise as dealing with a local engineer that knows any hidden traps that might arise. So make a note next to number 4 down at the bottom. Use local professionals. If the deal looks like a go, order a phase 1 or have a lender do so. Better yet, always have a lender do so. So circle that. But make sure that they don't order it after the fact. Order it before you close. So write that down. If you're going to have a lender do it, make sure it's ordered before you close. That's the statement I'm making. Number 6, if it's a go, make sure your attorney notifies the seller and the agent that you've released the contingency so your deposit will now go hard. Make sure you feel confident in financing is available first. No different than income buildings, all right? Make sure that they approve all of the reports. If it's not a go, have your attorney notify the seller and you're canceling the deal and to send you back your deposit. Or you can renegotiate the contract, all right? And if you have the unilateral clause in there, then it's just you who says, send me back my money. And they won't even call the seller because it's in contract. And you tell them, don't call the seller, just send me my money back. I don't want to even deal with this thing anymore. It wasn't what they said it was, and I don't even want to renegotiate, so just send me my money back. Or if it is what you thought it was, but you just need more time, then go back and renegotiate. Is that smart? It's very smart. That way you don't have to deal with quibble with anybody. Number 7, have your attorney send you the closing documents to examine in advance, and before sending to the seller's attorney, make sure it matches the contract and true intent as well. No different. All right. So number 102, guys, now we're into something called financing. And if you remember on day 1, we actually had our financiers come in. So this is going to be a great overview for you. Finding the right deal with the right terms attracts money like a magnet. Right? Right, guys? All right. Rules of money. Always borrow more than you need. That's the down payment, plus closing costs, plus improvement costs, plus holding costs. It's all right there for you. And maximize seller financing and minimize hard money or conventional financing. Great deals attract rich partners and happy people. Okay? Now there's 4 types of financing. I'm going to cover this in detail. Number 1 is going to be seller financing. That's the first, seller financing. We always want to ask for seller financing. Always. Go ahead and make the note. It's the key that unlocks the vault. The reason why we always ask, guys, I don't care what deal you're doing. It's part of the negotiation because we can use it as a tool later if we don't need it. If you get somebody to go ahead and give you 36-month seller financing for the first year, no payment, no interest, that means that you are negotiated a great deal and it shows their interest in doing business with you. It shows that they're committed. When you have terms like that spelled out on a letter of intent and then you have them sign that, they are committed to you to do the deal. Now, it's the cheapest and often no credit check or personal guarantees required. Senior living facility? Never even asked. Website? Never even asked. Financials? Nothing. Nothing. And a lot of other deals as well. Seller financing is a relationship-driven tool. And when you get it, like I said, it also, a lot of times, doesn't get recorded against the property. Why? Let me tell you why. Make a note. The reason why, guys, is because you just tell them, look, if we record a note against the property, it's just going to weigh the property down. It's going to put more debt on the property. We want to make sure that we schedule and we go ahead and negotiate this thing and construct the thing the right way, where when my financier comes in, they're going to feel good about getting financing. We're going to close. We're going to still move forward. If we encumber a bunch of debt on the property, it's just going to be an issue. And if they insist on having it recorded, then of course we're going to use something called what? Subordination. You got it. Good. All right. How much you get plus the equity at closing will largely determine the type and quantity of other financing. That's it. Now there's a private equity partner. Most expensive, but you can it's easiest as well if the project's strong. Now if it's the merit of the project, remember guys, write this down underneath that in big letters. I want you to write this down. It's not me. It's the project. Do not sell yourself ever. It's not you. It's the project. If you were beamed up by an alien, this project better be strong enough for those people to want to invest in. Don't do yourself a disservice or anybody else, okay? It's got to be the project. Don't try to sell somebody a turkey. Not even during Thanksgiving. Okay. Negotiable with partner on percentage of profits or return. This will be spelled out in an LLC operating agreement, but also they might want a mortgage for additional security. This is not a JV. JVs are with the seller. Don't talk to these people as if they're going to be a JV partner. JVs are with the seller, guys. Don't give up all your equity. Don't do that. That's not the way it's done, all right? It's negotiable with the partner on a percentage of the profits or return, but not both. Okay, next, 103. Money partners may also want control. Now, in some states, and it just varies, but 51% ownership keeps control. Write that down. It's called voting control. You're controlling. Not everywhere 51% keeps it, though. Money partners may also want the control or ability to take control if the project has problems. I understand that. I understand it. Hard money loan. It's most expensive, and it's always going to be short-term. Right underneath that Band-Aid loan. Get in and get out with it, guys. That's a Band-Aid loan. But it's easy to get compared to conventional. It is. Conventional is good old bank financing. We're going to get to that one next. All right? It's temporary money, and it's used to buy, then refi. We refi right out of that. It's an asset-based loan, meaning it's on the merit of the project. Property qualifies more than the buyer, but will vary, of course, depending on the market, depending on what's happening. And then there's recourse versus non-recourse. Recourse is you sign, and non-recourse is you don't sign. Usually first position only, just like the financier said with hard money, okay? But some do second positions, just like the financier said, if the LTV is good enough. You heard the words right out of his mouth. Same thing he said, almost verbatim when he was up here, correct? Okay. Now, must have lots of equity in the property to get this. Less than 65% loan-to-value minimum, and we showed you how to do the LTV formula. It's really simple. It's right here in the book. But many only lend up to 50% LTV, so make note. That's 50% loan to value. And the rates can be anywhere between 10 to 18. 18%! Points range from 1 to 10. You know why they call hard money hard money? Because it's hard to pay back. And that's a joke. I love hard money. I'm not putting it into a negative light. Hard money is the easiest to get. Like I said, it's asset-based. It's on the merit of the project. Your FICO is irrelevant most of the time. Now here's good, 5 points in, 7 points out, and 10%. And bad would be 10 up front, 10 points, 10% on the back, and 18%. That's bad. But again, guys, even if you're paying 18% and all those points, I know some of you are looking at me like I'm crazy right now. Guys, it doesn't matter. The cost of money sometimes for hard money is cheaper than if you were to exchange equity. Look at how much your equity's worth. Hard money is cheap compared to it. And for the record, if you need to go look for hard money, you're going to go to a website called scotsmanguide.com. Scotsmanguide.com. You Google it, Scotsman Guide. And there you can go ahead and call all the hard money and different types of money, all the people under the sun. You can call in there. It's also has a publication, but it's online, okay? Now, make sure you do your due diligence on these people. Don't be putting down deposits like the lender said. all right? You make sure that you do your due diligence, and you want to find out when they closed on their last project, and you want to go ahead and speak with the underwriter eventually. You want to go ahead and make sure you're talking to the person who writes the check. All right. 1 week to 30 days. And if it takes any longer, they're probably going to be middlemen who write the check. You want to talk to the people who write the check, all right? If you deal with anybody else in between, they're going to be the middlemen. Specify deadline for commitment and closing. You want to know when they can go ahead and close, and you want their commitment letter. Here's a tip. Ask hard money lender to accrue the interest. Always check up front if non-recourse. Always ask, do you guys do non-recourse loans? Does this package qualify for non-recourse? Because we don't feel like personal signing for it. It's in the merit of the project, because this project is really good. Okay, conventional is sitting across from good old banks. Now, it's the hardest to get, but it's the cheapest. All right, it is the cheapest, the best rates. What is cheaper than conventional? You got it, seller. Remember when I did the stagger, start off at 2% for the first year, then graduate into 5% in the third year, go to 12%? If you can get the deal done in 18 months, what did you just do? You beat prime, or even half a prime. You beat any rate that you're going to be able to get. And I taught that to you guys. So understand that that's very powerful information. Conventional, make a note next to conventional. I want you to go ahead and write down local banks. Local banks. All right? Most paperwork is going to be required. Now let's turn to page 104. All right? Project must be strong, but so must the borrower. If it's a purchase money, then you got to understand you got to have credit and track record, financial statement, etc. Refi money is always going to be easier to get, regardless of residential or commercial. Refi is always easier. Again, guys, that's why I said before, and write this down, about financing options. Write this down. Sometimes taking over existing debt is easier than creating new, as long as there's good points and interest. Now, we're going to talk about financing options. Seller financing. That's number one. Joint venture. We know what that is. That's when the JV, the seller dedicates the land. You bring in the money and the work through experts. You must negotiate, write this down, negotiate the profit split. Next, you need lots of equity to get the conventional or hard money financing for entitlements. Need lots of equity to get conventional or hard money financing for entitlements. Also development and building, etc. Whatever you're going to do. Develop it, build it, whatever you can do. All right? Strong upside may be enough for private financing. Okay? Now, subject to, take over existing loans. Can you take over subject to in commercial? Of course you can. Of course you can. Somebody's behind on their payments. I'll tell you right now, our buddy Fred, I don't know if he's current or not. Right, Don? Don't know yet. But when I said, will you sell for what you owe? He said 10,000 more. I think there's some motivation there that we need to uncover. But it's drafted. It goes out. We're good. I'm happy with it. So there it is. No financing required for the purchase when you take over subject to. But make a note, you still need to get money to pay interest and also, guys, to do the improvements. You still need the money for that. You still need the money. You still need to get the money to pay interest and to do improvements. That's not going to go anywhere. That money is going to need to come from somewhere if there's improvements that need to be done, okay, and to bring payments current, all right, if that need be as well. And what type of money you're going to bring in will all depend on the equity in the deal. Maybe it's OPM. Maybe it's hard money. You can also get government loans and grants as well. We all know that. Okay. You can also pull cash from your other assets. Now make a note there. That's called cross-collateralization. Okay. I do not recommend doing cross-collateralization. That's why it's not written in the book. because I'm teaching you guys how to do deals with none of your own money or credit. So why would I want you to go ahead and put up your own assets for that? I'm just making a note that it's one way you can do it. You can refinance, cash out, and infuse the new project equals a loan, essentially putting your own money in the deal, which I'm against. Conventional wisdom. Also credit lines, which is the same thing. You can do credit lines, which is the same. All right? Partners and private investors are where it's at. Private money is where it's at. If you're out there and you're drumming money, there are laws, there's things that you need to know. That's why you hire the professionals to do what they do best, and you focus on what you do best. You're facilitators. Remember, guys, you want to get in, you want to get out, you want to get rich, you want to do things the right way. And make a note here, something's going to require equity, either yours or theirs. It's going to require equity, all right, in the deal. All right, page 105. Now, this is important, guys, because you're going to need to know how to package the deal for funding. Remember, I give you the analogy when you're walking down the street and you're window shopping, right? If the clothes on the mannequins don't look good, chances are you're not going to want to go in there and do shopping. So you want to make sure the package looks good. 90% of the deals out there fall apart because they're poorly written. The summaries are poorly written. They're not done the right way. There's too much fluff. We don't want fluff. What we want is meat. We want to have the bullet points. We want the meat. So here it is. Know what information is required, know when to include and exclude information, and know how to present it. That's what it comes down to. Those bullet points right there. If it's hard to finance, it's probably not a top 1% deal. And I want you to make a note underneath that. And I said it before, and if it went over your head, please don't sweat it. Just write it down. So this way you won't forget it in the future. If a hard money lender won't land on your deal, you better look at your deal. You go on scotsmanguide.com, and you want to, you can go ahead and submit it out. But just be careful that you don't put it in the wrong hands of a middleman and they end up going and shopping your loan. You want to make sure that your loan is not out there being shopped. You want to make sure that you're dealing with qualified people. Make sure you're dealing with the doers. Remember, guys, there's lip service and there's performance. You guys are people who perform. So you want to go ahead and out there make it happen.